In this video, we are going to be talking about finding least common multiple of two or more numbers, and then also using the LCM to find equivalent fractions so that we can solve problems. All right, this first one. This first one's a little bit different than the other problems we've been doing because these numbers are rather big. Finding the LCM of 24 and 18. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with 24. And because I don't know how to skip count my 24s very well, I'm going to use repeated addition. So I'm going to say 24 plus 24 is 48. Okay, so you always start with the number. Let's try that again. 24, and then we can do 48. And I'm just going to continually add 24 to this, to the sum so that I can keep finding multiples. So you get 12, 72, and I'm going to go out 5, 96, and I'm just going to say 24 and 96, 10, 120. All right, so now that I've gone out 5 multiples of 24, I'm going to move over and I'm going to do multiples of 18. And again, I don't know how to skip count 18s very well, so I'm going to go off to the side, and I'm going to use repeated addition. So 18 plus 18 is 36. So remember, start with your number. So 18 comes first because it's always the number times 1. Then is 36, and I'm going to continually add 18 until I can find one they have in common. So I know that there's no 18 in this list of 24, multiples of 24. There's also no 36. It jumps from 24 to 48. So I'm just going to keep adding 18, and you get 54. There's no 54 in my list of 24s. So I'm going to add 18 again. You get 12, 7, 72. And I can stop because I see it right here. So the least common multiple of 24 and 18 is going to be 72. It's going to be very important that you understand how to find the LCM because we will be using this skill as our first step when we begin solving problems with involving fractions. So this problem right here, it says solve 7/16 plus 1 and 17/20. Well, our first step here, step 1, is going to be, and I'm actually going to put it over here, finding the LCM, or the least common multiple, of 16 and 20. And again, these numbers are a little bit bigger, so I'm going to have to use a little bit more of addition. Now with 20, I can skip count 20s, 20, 40, 60, and if you don't know, you can just skip count by 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8, and then add your 0, 10, add your 0. Okay, so I went out 5. Now I'm going to go to 16, and I'm going to skip count by 16s. Again, like I said, I don't really know my skip counting, so I'm going to do repeated addition. 16 plus 16 is 32. That one I do know. Okay, I know that this, and my multiple of 16 is going to have to end in 0 because all of these numbers end in 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So I'm going to keep going, keep adding 16 to my number until I can get a common multiple, 48. 64. 10, 8, 80, and there it is. There's my LCM. So I can stop finding my multiples, and I know that my common denominator is going to have to be 80. So this number right here is going to be 80 on both of them. So step 2 is going to be finding equivalent fractions using our giant 1 and the common denominator we just found. Okay, so let's use our giant 1 And we go 16 times what gives me 80? If I don't know that right away, I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 5. Remember your giant 1, both numbers have to be the same. 7 times 5 is 35. And then 20 times 4, giant 1, both numbers have to be the same. I'm not sure what 17 times 4 is off the top of my head, so I'm going to multiply it out. 68. Now that I have common denominators, I can add these two numbers together. When I do that, I guess it doesn't matter how you do it, but this would be step 3. I like to do it vertically, like up and down. So instead of writing 7/16, I'm going to write 35/80. And then I'm going to write 1. And instead of writing 17/20, I'm going to write 68/80. Add them up. Nice thing with addition is you don't have to worry about borrowing. So I'm going to add these two numbers up off to the side. You get 13, 10. So you get 103/80. And then this is just a 1. Now here's where things get a little bit more complicated right here. 103/80 is an improper fraction. So what we have to do is we have to turn that into a mixed number. So I'm going to say, how many times does 80 go into 103? Well, it just goes in there one time. And then I can subtract. 3 minus 0 is 3. To borrow, 2. So your answer is 1 and 23/80 for that. But I'm going to take my 1 here and combine it with my 1 here to get 2. And your fraction is 23/80. And that is your answer. Now, when you are doing this, in order to get a 4 out of 4, you have to convert any improper fractions to mixed numbers. Okay. If we can get to step 3 and add, that would give us a 3 out of 4. If we can do any of step 1 or 2, it would give us a 2 out of 4. And then if you at least attempt something, you're going to get a 1 out of 4. So if you don't know how to do it, at least try something, try what you know, and then go from there. Okay, last but not least is this problem. 4 and 1/12 minus 2 and 1/8, or I'm sorry, 2 and 8/15. Wow. So step 1 is going to be finding the LCM of 12 and 15. So these numbers are a little bit easier to work with. They're still kind of big, but I can skip count by 12 is a little easier. 12, 24, 36, 48, and 60. Okay, that's 5. Now I'm going to go to 15, 15, 30. There's nothing that they have in common yet. 45. Nope, that's 48 and 60. There it is. So my new denominator is going to be 60. So step 2 is going to be taking these fractions and setting them to another fraction with a denominator of 60. And then finding your giant ones so that you can find equivalent fractions. 12 times 5 is 60. 1 times 5 is 5. 15 times 4 is 60. 8 times 4 is 32. So now that I have found equivalent fractions, I can go ahead and I can subtract. Again, like I said, I like to do it vertically or up and down. It's just easier for me to see. So 4 and 5/60. So I think some of the misconceptions I see is people forget to write the new fraction. Minus 2 and 8. Oops, see, I just did it there. 2 and 32/60. Okay, and subtract. Well, we can't do 32 minus, or I'm sorry, 5 minus 32, so we have to borrow. So this 4 becomes a 3. And then I have to take that 1 and add it here. So I want us to look at this. We can all agree, I think, that 3 plus 1 equals 4. Well, we need a giant 1 here because we're working with fractions to equal 4. Well, in order to figure out what that giant 1 is, we have to pick it. But we can pick whatever we want for the giant 1. But if we pick something that is not 60, we have to go through step 1 and 2 all over again. So in order to make this easier for us, we are going to make this giant 1 60/60ths so that the denominators are the same. And we can all agree that 3 plus 60/60ths is equal to 4. That's how we get this part. So then when you add, you do 60 plus 6 plus 5 is 65. And now I can do 65 minus 32 to give us 33. And you get 33/60ths. And then you can do 3 minus 2 is 1. And that is your answer. When you are doing this on an assessment, know that this answer would give you a 4 out of 4. Okay? If you can get to this part right here, step 3 would be a 3 out of 4. And maybe you just don't know how to borrow. And then anything over here would be a 2 out of 4. And again, anything that you attempt would be a 1 out of 4. So pause, rewatch this video if you need to come to office hours if you're still